Hello everyone, my name is Clive Swansborn. Welcome to Piano Insights. Today we'll be looking at one of Brahms's Intermezzi. This is one of his most beautiful, I think, and certainly one of his most popular, and for very good reason. It's one of his autumnal pieces. I mean, he liked to think of autumn when he wrote the autumn years of his life. Brahms loved to revel in being an old man, even though he was barely 60. There's a wonderful picture of him standing next to Johann Strauss, who looks about 10 years younger and is in fact 8 years older than Brahms. Brahms liked to cultivate the old man act with a long beard and all that. He really wasn't all that old, but he towards the end of his life he was sick. He did have cancer, but he adopted this old age thing much before he got into any health problems. However, these do have a wonderful autumnal quality to them. He liked to call them his album leaves. And he gave them names such as Intermezzo just simply because he had to call them something. He wrote a bunch of these. I don't know how many exactly, but there are rhapsodies, there are ballades, there are intermezzi, there are capriccios. And sometimes you just get the feeling that he just took the titles out of a drawer and appended them without any particular reason for doing so. I mean, an intermezzo is about as vague as you could get. As long as you put it between two other pieces, it's an intermezzo. He didn't feel like calling it anything more particular than that. So it's an ABA form. We have the main theme in A major, which changes key, of course, and then we have an F sharp minor, and then it switches to F sharp major for the middle section. It's a very warm and tender piece. He marks it andante teneramente, which means tenderly. It has to be played with love and care and attention and great sensitivity, I think. Okay, so let's just go into it. I would say definitely pedal down before you begin. That's almost always the case with all music that's going to be using pedal. So absolutely beautiful theme, beautiful subject. The left hand has rather thick writing, very interesting writing though. He really pulls out the stops with the sounds that he's looking for, and they're not at all the same. He varies them a lot. It's a thick chord. You want to be very careful not to play thickly. Always bring out the top. With very few exceptions, I think you need to sort of concentrate on bringing out the top and playing everything else very lightly. I'm barely touching this chord. So even these, you're very careful to keep them really soft. They're sort of drooping downwards like falling leaves in autumn, you see. Let's give this one a little time because it's the same melody note, but it's a totally different harmony. So, just don't go. No. Now he puts pianissimo here. I would suggest left pedal, soft pedal. Now this thing, which is rather awkward for a small hand, I certainly don't, even with a large hand, I don't think you really need to hold it. But the melody is, that's the melody note, you see, so you've got to make it melodic, but not be too late on it. So play this on the beat, play this a little bit after the beat, but then don't rush in order to catch up. Just make sure that that becomes the beat, even though you've changed pedal on this one, you see. So you've got, there's a big leap, body, so it sounds natural if you give it that little bit of extra time. Don't try and go. that would, for a small hand anyway, it would lose the beautiful F sharp in there, and it would sound rushed. Very subtle little harmonic differences. But don't bring them out. Don't try and bring them out too much, otherwise it's going to get very thick. No, it's just got to be very subtle. Another little subtle note there. You can maybe take a little extra time on that one, instead of going with that mysterious 6/4 chord there. Here we got something more definite, something less kind of transient. We've actually got a bass line which goes melodically down, as opposed to just staying on this mysterious note down here. So the difference between and then we're still down here. We haven't gone anywhere. Whereas here, it's different in aspect, you see. There's more of a sense of direction, you see. That's what it is. So the end of a direction, whereas here it wasn't directional so much. So you could do a little bit of a crescendo maybe when it comes to here. Maybe not even a crescendo to here, but to here maybe. Basically all the A major music for now, and then we go suddenly into C major, which I think is an extremely mysterious chord in this context. I hear people play it sort of the same color, and I like that. And I think, it's got to have a different color. It's a different atmosphere, and at least for a split second he goes into C major, which is quite distant key after just hearing an E major cadence, and suddenly it just drops down. It's more dark and mysterious, and then it comes out back into A major. Because he brings back at the climax, he brings a tune right there in the bass, and then it changes to the last one is minor. Very subtle change there. So we've got a lovely rise from this mysterious chord here, and then we comes out of that. This one isn't quite so mysterious, it's brighter because it's a little higher. Long pedal. I think it's a mistake to change pedal here. No, you want it all in the pedal. Change there. And then we're nice climax here. One place where the accompaniment notes can come out more. I think they're kind of more interesting, and you can build the whole sound up by making them a bit more interesting, a bit less strict time. Absolutely gorgeous, that. Just coming off that climax and really settling down, you know. And then absolute sweetness here. Do some tricky fingering here. My favourite fingering is to do that, holding onto the A, and you have this little echo here. It's got to be really, really quiet. There is a way of doing it like that with all thumbs, but it's up to you. It's just, I prefer to do this with legato fingers, so this is the price you have to pay for that. You've got to get a good landing on that, because this, of course, is upside down version of, so you have to make it sing out, of course, and this, if you can't handle it, if you don't have the big enough hand, then I would definitely say don't do that, because it spoils it. Just leave out the E. It's perfectly good without the E. This one may be a little bit more. And make sure that you leapfrog over it, get a good landing, still holding the A. Sounds kind of nice to go and just play that as an afterthought, but really that's still the melody. So you have to sort of, I think, play them both sort of equally. This is a crescendo, wonderful because the A stays the same in the bass. And then it goes. So that's where, it's a similar case to what I was talking about in the early part of the piece, where you have the static bass version with that unstable A. There you get something that's a little bit less unstable, and the difference between that and the bass is moving, it has more direction, and that's certainly the case here. And you're building your crescendo based on the left hand, really. Here, the F sharp minor section, I think, shouldn't start too dramatic. It should be kind of just almost floating. because you're going to be doing that and a bit later in the climax section. So keep it soft. You can bring these out, particularly the second time round. Definitely, they're beautiful to do that. Now, this goes into F sharp major. Now, I feel like this is like almost monks in a cathedral. Very sort of spiritual kind of white sound. So I think it's best not to bring out the top anymore. So if you do this, it's too kind of, it's too much. It has the same kind of warmth as what you're aiming for elsewhere in the piece. But let's have something different. Let's do something very, very mysterious. That kind of sound, which Schubert loved, I think. That kind of sound, you see. Not bringing out the top. See, this is a melody in the middle voices, you see. So still, even though it's going to back to F sharp minor, don't bring anything out. I have to say, I quite like bringing out the left hand thumb here. And then don't bring out this absolutely white sound there. I mean, white is really wrong term because it implies there are no overtones. Of course, there are lots of overtones and upper partials and goodness knows what. What I really mean is kind of a heterogeneous sound, nothing coming out, no notes more important than others. The kind of thing that I militate against most of the time because you need some voice to project, but here it sounds much more effective if you don't. And the difference between that and the contrast between what comes next, which is a big duet, almost operatic duet with a big climax. Chord that is. I mean, this is part of an A major chord. Those three are part of a B major chord, and that's part of an E major chord. So that's what comes next. But even the next chord, he's sort of slipped out of the B chord to the E7 in the middle, but he's still got A on the other sides. So how to analyze that in terms of formal analysis, I don't know, but it's 2 steps away from going to A, and you'd expect this ending up there. But what he has is, he doesn't go to there, he goes to here, back to this mysterious 6/4 chord, an unstable chord. And he slightly varies the theme here instead of... He has this more dramatic... But he's back to the calm there. I think this slightly more dramatic version of the phrase is a backwash from the drama we've just heard. You can really let go in this part. It just opens up really in a big way, and it's quite dramatic and lovely then. And this final version here, I think that's such a, he just, instead of going to that one, he goes to this one. For the first time he goes all the way up. So make it a very special event. And the rest is the same, basically. So just a beautiful piece, gorgeous colours, a lot of variety of approach in terms of colouring and voicing is available in this work to make it fully satisfying. Even in the accompaniment, where sometimes you can bring out the accompaniments more because they're more melodic and they add more to the action, more to the drama of the climaxes. So that is Brahms' Intermezzo in A. I recommend it to everyone. It's one of the most beautiful pieces, not very difficult to play. The most difficult thing is to bring it out, the musical variety that you need. To play it straight is not enough. You have to make it magical. But technically it's not really that hard, so I recommend it thoroughly. Even if it's your first Brahms piece, really. I mean, there are waltzes and somewhat easier pieces among the intermezzi, but not that many. I think this is really a great one to start with if you're at least intermediate level. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Please share, subscribe, and leave a like. Bye-bye.